We are now live.
Nice one.
So, ladies and gents, whoever's in here that quick, we've been live for 5 seconds. So, if you're in here that quick, fair play to you. Take my hat off you. Um, Ben, like, I, I don't really know how to sum that up. What I've just watched.
I think it was.
Really odd game, wasn't it?
I think it was a game of two halves again, wasn't it?
It was. We looked much more. We looked much more comfortable with possession this game than we did for the QPR game. But we just same old Watford away from home. We didn't do anything when we had the possession. Like it took 75 minutes to get our first shot on target.
Yeah.
Not good enough.
No.
And I'm sorry, I don't know what you think, Ben, but I don't think Andre Gray was good enough tonight. Holding up the ball, he was all right, but in terms of his passing was wayward again. I don't know what it is with Gray. I don't know whether it's a wider issue or what is going on. Like it just doesn't seem right whatsoever. Someone said already we'd struggle to get 400 back at the Vic when the grounds reopen, but yeah, maybe so. Don't forget to get your comments in down below, guys. Your questions about tonight's game. If you have got any questions after that, listen, Ben. Me and you both said we'd take the draw at the start. Are you happy with a draw, considering how that panned out? What's your viewpoint on it?
I feel like the pressure was on us a little bit going into tonight's game after seeing Bournemouth and Norwich both winning last night. They're kind of making a little bit of a gap between them and us now. But we went there. We knew it was going to be tough at Bristol City. We kept a clean sheet. That's a positive to take out of the game. And we managed to come away with a point. I think the performance was better than QPR. I thought first half we was much better. Second half, it's just the final ball, isn't it? There's no cutting edge. It's always that final pass, isn't it? The build-up's lovely, but like you said on the podcast the other day, you feel like we're trying to walk the ball in the back of the net. You just want someone to put their foot through it. I think Quinner brought that tonight, and he looked good, and he was attempting to try and break the deadlock, but. Yeah, we're trying to walk the ball in the back of the net, and I think we need a bit of a break at the moment, don't we? I think we need something to go off someone's backside just to give it. Just to give us a bit of a boost.
No, you laugh, Ben, but it's a bit like Andre Gray's goal against Coventry. That wasn't clean at all. I think it literally did hit his backside and it went in. But you need that rub of the green. And just away from home, we don't seem to be getting it. Now, listen, me and you both said, like, you know, in messages to each other, and I think we said on the last podcast as well, we'd both take a draw, and a draw is what has happened. So a draw against third place Bristol City isn't, you know, the end of the world. I don't know what that's done for us in terms of the league table. Have we maybe gone up to fifth? I don't know. But I just think the way that we played, we definitely should have took more than a point out of the game. I think, as you say, Quinner was a standout player tonight. And it's funny because the more I saw of Quinner and the more I saw him do well, I thought we sort of sat here in the last podcast and we did question, and rightly so at the time, where he'd slot into the midfield when everybody's fit. Now, Ben, when I sent you the team news this evening, we were sort of both very interested. It looked like a 4-3-3. And we both said we felt that the midfield was going to get overrun because there was no Capoue tonight. There was no Cleverley again. It was Chalobah, Quinner, and Garner. Now, I thought Garner was superb. I thought Quinner was superb. I thought Chalobah had a decent game as well. But I think Quinner was a shining light after all that. Nah, come on, Ben. Do you think he was 50-50?
I thought it was better than against QPR, but his distribution on the ball's poor. He lost the ball so many times tonight. I don't think he knows the forward pass. Or if he does, that's when he loses the ball. But he was better than the performance against QPR. Garner was good. I thought his set pieces were pretty poor tonight. The amount of corners we had and wasted them, really good opportunities to put pressure on Bristol City. I thought we wasted those. But yeah, Quinn is the standout in that midfield. But yeah, like you said, when we saw the team news, I did worry about our midfield. I thought we was going to get overrun. But looking at the performance tonight, I think Bristol City's midfield was non-existent. I think any midfield stronger, we would have struggled. So I think we got away with one tonight.
Yeah, we, as you said, Ben, we thought that we were going to get overrun in midfield, but they didn't really. They had one chance. The first real chance I remember them having was at Jeju, who had like a chance, I think it went through his legs, and it was a tapping basically.
Foster got something onto it to take it away from him, didn't he?
Yes, he did actually. Yes, he did. Yeah, and I think somebody's actually said that in the comments already. I believe Peter Humbridge has said some great stops from Fozzie, but poor distribution put us under pressure at times. I think that's absolutely spot on. Fozzie tried a few long ones, just didn't come off for him whatsoever tonight. But if there was that chance that you've just mentioned, Ben, and then the chance right at the end, he probably didn't need to make the save, but. Well, you probably wouldn't have thought he needed to make the save, but he's just sort of clawed it out. And
that was a good save. It had a spin on it, didn't it? It looked like it was going to go in. He did well to change his position in there because it was a bit forward for it, but he managed to get himself back just in time because that could have looped in and we could be talking about a defeat right now. But yeah, good saves from Foster, but yeah, distribution wasn't great.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello to Rudy Clark Johnson, who said hello. Big Nelly 979 has said, saying this through gritted teeth, but we have to back Ivic. We can also lay the myth that this squad is the best in the championship to bed. Even Stevie Wonder knows that. Bournemouth and Norwich will walk this league and be promoted by March. Listen, me and Ben both said, I'm not just saying this, but we both backed Norwich to walk this league. There were a few people that sort of said, really? And now they've had a bit of a bumpy ride and now they're coming true. I think Bournemouth's run will eventually fade, fingers crossed. But I think this team still will come good. Myself and Ben have done numerous interviews with the Second Tier podcast over the course of the season so far. And there was a clip that they put out where I said, once this team clicks, that the team that we face when we click will take an absolute battering. And I'll still stand by that. I believe that whoever plays us, that game that we finally click is in for a absolute pasting. Obviously, we know that there was COVID within the squad. I think the rumours are that Glenn Murray's got COVID and possibly Sema and Capu have got COVID as well. I don't know how true they are. I personally thought that Sema was being rested. Do you think that was a right call, Ben, to rest Sema tonight? Or
it all depends if he did contract COVID or not. If he did, then yeah, you can't bring him into the side. But if he hasn't, I do think he deserved the rest tonight, didn't he? He's worked so hard in the recent games, and QPR, like we said, he was bombarded down his left hand side, and he needs a bit of a rest. But look, Messina's not too far away now, so that will help out. I did think it was the same with playing Kiko at left back today. I thought we didn't look the same going forward on the left hand side. There was no balance because Kiko always had to stop when he got to the byline, cut back in on his right foot. He's not got the natural left foot where he can just whip in the ball. But I think further forward, I don't think he had much help on the left hand side either. Kiko, I thought Pedro started on the left-hand side, but he was always drifting in the middle. So we didn't really have any left-sided players today. And you could tell every attack that we had was coming down the right-hand side with Ngakia and Sarr. I thought Ngakia had a really good game as well, by the way.
Yeah, and Ngakia was, I think, considering he's not played as much, and rightly so, there's a lot of people on Twitter at the moment and a lot of people on social media saying, why is Quinner not playing? Why is Kiko playing? To be quite frank with you, Kiko and Sema have done brilliantly to keep him out of the team. So for Ngakia to come in tonight and just play sort of off the bat as if he had done when he started the season, I thought was superb. We've had Rudy Clark Johnson say he thought Quinner looked great. Big Nelly said Quinner needs a daily diet of Nando's and a few Sagres. Sums up the season so far when our only one creative spark has been knocked down by the corona. I assume he means Sema, if that is true. Our our mate Ant said, call your bluff, stick 50 quid on it. And I don't know what you want me to stick 50 quid on, mate, but that's not happening. Although you did think Bournemouth were playing earlier, mate, so maybe you should stick 50 quid on them. In fact, I'm going to pin that comment right below so everyone can see that, mate. Big Nelly has said, surely even we can't mess it up on Saturday. Interesting if Fisher plays on Saturday for Preston, as a club shop would have done a roaring trade in a Watford embossed cricket box. That is absolutely brilliant.
I
No, but
must say, we've got a difficult game out the way with Bristol City. Our next six fixtures don't look too bad. I know we've got Preston, who have a very good away form, coming to a Vic this weekend. But then afterwards, we've got like Birmingham City, Rotherham. We've got teams that we could beat. We've got Forest coming up. Forest aren't great. They lost to Bournemouth last night. I know we've got Cardiff as well, and Cardiff are hit and miss as well. So I think we've got some really good winnable 6 points where we can like catch up on the teams above now.
And it's interesting you say that, because we've got a point tonight. There'll be fans tonight that aren't happy with that point, because there's fans that aren't happy even when we win. So there'll definitely be fans that aren't happy that we've drawn tonight. But when you look at the run that we've got coming up, Ben, that you've just mentioned, do you look at it as if this point is a point brilliantly gained because of the run that we've got coming up? I believe we've got 4 home games coming up in the next however many
next 3
weeks.
games, I think.
Yeah.
16
points,
4,
second best home record in the league, and that's only because Bournemouth have played more home games than us. So do you look at tonight?
Unbeaten in 4 games now as well.
Exactly. So for all those people that will slate tonight's performance and say that, yes, we probably should have got a win, which we should have. I think we were looking the better side at times, but when you look at the bigger picture, and again, we're away from home, we've picked up a point against a high-flying Bristol City. We could have very easily lost after the performance that we put in on Saturday against a lower sort of position QPR side. Do you look at that as a point gained rather than 2 points lost?
I think it'll come to the end of the season. We'll think this was probably a point gained. Difficult place to go to, Ashton Gate. And like you say, they're high flying, and Bristol City have started the season really well. So it's definitely a point gained. We could have ended up losing that in the last 5 minutes again if it weren't for Foster to pull out that save. So it's definitely another point in the right direction. Look, the Championship's a slog of a season. Like, you're not going to get promoted in November, are you? You got to pick up points where you can. And like we've said, if you win your home games and pick up points away from home, even if it's a point from away from home, you're going to finish in the top 6. And if you finish in the top 6, it's a lottery to go up, isn't it? And I think we will definitely be in and around the mix this season to go up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. These games are coming thick and fast. Sometimes we have to sort of hold our hands up and say, okay, maybe that was a point gained rather than 2 dropped. And against a high-flying Bristol City side, I think we can be quite happy that we've drawn, especially at the end. I want to point out the comment that I've pinned here from Peter Hambridge, where he said, really pleased to see Perica back in the squad. He will be an important player this season. Myself and Ben have said countless times on the podcast this season, I think he'll be a very, very good player. And do you know what? I think he come on for the last 10 minutes, was it? I think even that last 10 minutes, he was brilliant. That ball he played through to Troy, unlucky that Troy couldn't get there, maybe a bit too much on the ball. But do you know what, Ben? I don't know about you, but when Troy come on, I probably would have swapped that around. I probably would have bought Perica on first.
Yeah, I saw you tweet at half-time saying you wanted Perica on for Andre Gray. So I did like his energy when he came on. He looks hungry. I'm going to put this out here now. I think Perica is going to be our best striker this season.
Do you know what? I don't think you're silly or like deluded to think that, Ben.
It's definitely better than Andre Gray. He's got 2 left feet.
Listen, I don't want to slag him off too much, because I think we did enough of that in the podcast last season.
But look, when you come out and you say, I'm going to score goals in this division, when you put in 2 performances, like QPR, okay, he had that chance where it like spinned off the defender and narrowly went wide. But tonight, he was woeful. Like, everything he touched just was shit.
No, he was. No, you're absolutely right, Ben. And he'd hold the ball up and you think, okay, go on then. and then he'd pass it back to like a Bristol City midfielder, and you're like, right, okay, back to the old Andre, the Andre that got penalised for taking the kickoff wrong away at Tranmere Rovers in the FA Cup replay last season. We're back to that Andre, are we?
I
So
think
yeah,
it's mentality for him, isn't it? Something's
confidence.
not clicking, and it's the confidence, isn't it? He needs a
Yeah.
run of games, but unfortunately, we ain't got a run of games to give him. We need to pick up points and goals now, and I think I want him back on the bench for Saturday.
Yeah, and I think Paritza deserves a start. And do you know what? I think there are a few people out there tonight. I've not actually gone on Twitter yet, but I'm sure there'll be people out there tonight that are slagging off Troy Deeney because it's Watford Twitter after all. I thought he was half decent. I don't think it was a penalty,
Nah,
personally.
nah.
But I thought he was all right.
He
Excuse me,
did
I
all
thought he was
right.
all
He
right.
did more than Gray. He did all right. He was trying to link up play, wasn't he, with Sarr and Patricio and Pedro. He was unlucky not to get on the end of Pedro's when he flicked it round to him. It's just an inch away from him, wasn't it, before he unleashed the shot? But yeah, it wasn't a penalty in my eyes either. I think Troy was looking for it, and you would look for it, wouldn't you, in these situations? Bentley just got there just before him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A comment which I just flashed up was from Rudy Clark Johnson that said, "I think Sarr needs to improve." Um, I don't know if it's because we're only just starting to play him in his proper position, but I think he didn't really. He was playing too deep at times tonight, and I don't know what it is with Sarr. It might literally be that we've not played him in his correct position, but Sonny doesn't look right with Sarr. There's been games where he's got involved and he's looked like good, but just tonight, I just don't know what it was. I don't know if you thought that's the same, Ben, but I just thought that he just didn't involve himself as much as he probably should have done, to be honest.
I forgot he was on the pitch at one point. We like the Ismail Sarr where he hugs that touchline, don't he? He stretches a pitch and then he can get at the defenders. That's where he's at his best, and he's not been playing in his right position lately. Like last season, he was hugging that touchline, wasn't he? He was waiting for those diagonal balls from Capu and getting on the end of them. We've not really seen that this season. He's always drifting inside or he's playing centrally, and that's not it's no fault of his own. That's where he's been asked to play by the manager. But we need to get the best out of him. He's still very young. He's very highly rated, but I don't think we're seeing the best of him this season. I know he's got 3 goals this season, but I think he's just been in the right place in the right time. I don't think we've seen a 90-minute performance from Ismail Sarr yet.
No, and at times it looks like he's almost scared to, or not scared. He lacks confidence to take the man on. Like
Yeah,
he'll have the ball, and you're thinking, just run. Like you're the fastest player in the league. Just run at him, just run at him. But for whatever
like
reason, it just doesn't happen.
like last season, he was taking on defenders with ease. He wasn't second guessing. He wasn't hesitating. He just took them on and he would always beat them. He was always stronger and quicker and hungrier to get past the defender. This season, like there was a few examples in tonight's game. He got the ball and he either cut back or he was holding on to it, and the opportunity just passed. I think it is a confidence thing.
Yeah, and look, like Andre Gray might get better with games, but he's had a lot more game time than Andre Gray. So
I
how
think
how many more games can he use that
I know
excuse?
he missed the first couple of games of the season, didn't he? He
Yeah,
missed what was it? It was Middlesbrough, and then we had the away fixture that he missed as well, and then he came in for the Luton game, and he's played every single game since, and I think probably every single minute. But
yeah, I don't think
it's not effective enough at the moment.
no, and
But you
listen,
could say the
maybe
same for a lot of Watford players in this side. Like one of our listeners said in a comment earlier about saying we got to stop saying we've got the strongest squad in the Championship. It's like I totally agree. I think on paper it looks amazing. As a team at the moment, it's not the best in the Championship. You'd say it's probably Norwich. You'd probably say it's Bournemouth. You wouldn't say it's Watford.
no. Big Nelly 979 that was said that probably on paper, yes, we might do, but on paper means sod all in football, and unfortunately, unless you play up to the expert, like and play up to it. it's not going to show through. We had a Stoke fan on a couple of weeks ago, Ben from the YYY files, and he said when we come down, everyone in that division from every opposition sort of team looked at our squad and thought, "Oh my God, Watford are going to rip it up," and. That they were in a similar position when they come down, and I think they just about stayed up, if memory serves me correctly, Stoke that season. So, listen, it means absolutely sod all that we've got the strongest paper on the squad and strongest squad on paper. Sorry, so absolutely right. I just want to quickly. We've had a comment from our mate Anthony. How many points, Ben, do you reckon we'll get out of the next 4 games? Now, from the top of my head, the next 4 games are.
Preston,
God, this is going to test me.
Forest,
Preston, Forest,
Cardiff.
Cardiff, and Rotherham. How many points from those 4? 3 of those are at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Birmingham ones. No, the Birmingham ones after.
I'm go-
Forest's away.
it's a tough one, isn't it? I think Preston's probably going to be our most difficult game because they are flying away from home. So we might draw again at the weekend against Preston. I see us beating Forest. I see us beating Rotherham.
We hope.
But it's Cardiff as well. It's tough, isn't it? I'm gonna say 8 points.
8 points. Very, very interesting. Guys, if you let us know in the comments, if you let us know in the comments, guys, what you think the next 4 games, it's Preston at home, Forest away, Cardiff at home, Rotherham at home. They're the next 4 games. Personally, just because of how we're looking away from home, Ben, I see us getting a point and nothing more at Forest. And I know they're playing poorly, but they're a side under transition at the moment under Chris Hughton. So it's going to be a very, very interesting game.
And they got Ben Watson.
No, he's at Charlton now.
Oh.
Yeah. They've, yeah.
They've
let
not
him
got
go.
Pantelimon either either, have they?
No, he's gone back to his deaf parents in Romania, I think. So he's doing. It's because he knows sign language, Ben.
All right.
Yeah, no, that wasn't an insult. Yeah, and on that bombshell, Pantilimon, if you're watching. Next 4 games, I'm going to say one of my real good mates from Birmingham is a Preston North End fan. So I'm going to say that we'll beat Preston.
That's like you being
purely
Watford
because we're at home.
in Birmingham.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So we'll beat Preston. We'll draw with Forest. We'll draw with Cardiff. And then we will beat Rotherham. So 6, 7, 8 points, I think. We've had a few people here saying Big Nelly, 7 points. 2 home wins, 1 draw and a loss. Interesting to know who your loss is coming to from there, Big Nelly, if you can let us know. Yeah, I know. Peter Hambridge has said
Watford all over, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Rotherham 1-0 last minute. I don't know, like Cathcart plays the ball back to Foster and he fluffs it or something. Peter Hambridge says 8 points. Agree. Brilliant. Big Nelly says away, of course. Now, I assume that 1 loss is probably going to be the Nottingham Forest game. But yeah, I think we've about summed up tonight's game as much as we can, because, to be honest, it took 73 minutes for us to get a shot on target, so not much happened in the game itself. So yeah, thanks as always to the guys. I'm noticing there's a lot of names that I'm recognising here, so thank you again for joining us. If your friends are Watford fans and if their fans are Watford fans, etc., spread the word. Don't forget, every midweek game this season, and they're coming thick and fast at the moment, we will be on YouTube live reacting to the game. So spread the word. Make sure that you've subscribed and turn notifications on, or at least subscribed. Drop a like on this video as well. That would be absolutely amazing. I think it helps us spread awareness. And myself and Ben will be back on Sunday, to talk about the Preston game. Hopefully, we'll be talking about 3 points, and we'll actually be speaking to a Nottingham Forest fan as well to preview the game on Wednesday night at the City Grounds, which could be the first game, depending on the tiered system that Boris is going to announce tomorrow. It could be one of the first Watford games that have fans in the stadium. I might have to sneak into the home and Ben. Living in Nottingham at the moment, so must have its perks.
Aren't you tier 3 though?
Yeah, well, we don't know till tomorrow, is what I'm saying. So we'll find out tomorrow. But it could be the first Watford game after lockdown to have fans in attendance. Although it'll just be home fans at the moment, I'd imagine. But yeah, myself and Ben will be back in your ears on Sunday afternoon ish, and yeah, we'll be speaking about the Preston game, hopefully a win, and we'll be speaking about the Forest game coming up, and then we'll obviously be back on YouTube Live the week after to preview the Forest game. So, as always, from myself and Ben, thank you very, very much for joining. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, like, all that jazz. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, you name it. Everything we're on, just give us a follow. So, thank you very, very much, guys. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and take care.
Cheers, guys.